had so many people asking me about the flat iron steak. We use this a lot at the restaurants, and this is one of those kind of underutilized cuts that is less expensive than a ribeye or a center plate cut like a filet strip. Look for the least expensive cut on the menu because that one's probably the most flavorful. And I think that in general, that actually rings true, especially with the flat iron. So the flat iron comes from the shoulder, right? The shoulder gets a lot of motion, and therefore it has a lot of connective tissue and marbling, but that's where the flavor is. And typically you would braise some of those tougher cuts, those cuts that use a lot of muscle, right? So the leg, the shoulder, and you would braise it, you would break down that collagen, and then that collagen turns into the gelatin, and that's that meltingly flavor tender you get from like a stew or a braise. I mean, just absolutely delicious. This is beefy, it's rich, it's tender. Holidays are coming around, so having a few offcuts that you can kind of serve to your guests, you're not gonna break the bank, but you're gonna be able to show them, hey, I know how to cook, because it's the technique, not always the cut. So I've salted this flat iron. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hit it with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, all right? And I'm gonna throw this right now into a 325-degree oven for roughly 8 minutes. And we're just gonna let it kind of break down, and then we're gonna pat it dry, and we're gonna finish it with a pan sear. This has been in the oven now for about 8 minutes, so I actually took some paper towels and I patted it dry, but if you look, I mean, it's ugly, right? And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna blast this, right? I'm gonna finish this. You could do this on the grill, or you could just do it in a pan. And if you don't even have a stovetop, you just turn the oven up to about 500 degrees, pull it and dry it out first, get that oven really hot, and then you can oven roast it as well. It's just about getting that high heat at the end. Also important to mention, I will not salt it again. The salt's already inside the meat. A little bit on the exterior, a little bit on the inside, so I'm not gonna salt it. And this is where I use the avocado oil. It's got a little bit of a higher smoke point. A lot of people have the tendency to cook with too much oil, which is an issue. And when they do that, one of the reasons why they're doing that is because they're putting oil in a cold pan, so it makes it look like you need more oil. You wait for the pan to get really hot, and then the oil runs like water. Get that going in the pan. We're gonna sear it on one side for about 30 seconds. We're gonna flip it. We're gonna keep flipping it every 30 seconds. Probably do this for about 5 minutes because you still wanna break the flat iron down. I don't like it rare. I actually like the flat iron a little bit medium rare plus, more towards medium. You do wanna break some of that connective tissue down. You know, the only meat that I eat rare is filet. I'm gonna do a little bourbon butter sauce, right? Because I just wanna kinda amplify the flavor. I cook with bourbon a lot in fall, right? In the autumn. I like that richer flavor, that oakier flavor. I love the way that like bourbon and butter and steak kind of works together. There we go. All right, I got some whole butter here, right? So now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna let that cook off. I'm gonna throw some whole butter. Oh God, there's the ghost again. There's the ghost. And this is the stage where I'm gonna add my black pepper, right? Everybody asks me, why don't you cook with the black pepper? I find that searing the black pepper creates a bitterness that's acrid on the exterior of meat. I like to only finish with fresh cracked pepper. I mean, it's worlds of flavor when you freshly crack it on your products at the end. Just plucked some chives from my garden. You know, we actually have 3 acres of chives in the back. That gets us through about 1 week worth of chives. Just slice those down. The other question that I get a lot is, how do I know when it's done, right? By feel. Now, of course, this is muscle memory. Touching steaks, thousands of steaks over and over again, you get to understand how they feel, how the muscles kind of tighten up when they cook. And it's kind of silly, but it works. And this is what I tell a lot of my young cooks, is that you use your hand, right? So you have like, I call this the meat of your thumb right there. Put your fingers together. So you put your thumb and your pinky together, or your ring finger and your thumb, your middle finger and your thumb, or your pointer finger and your thumb. And each time you're doing that, you're flexing this muscle. And you're only doing it like you're holding a piece of paper in there. You're not actually flexing it. And when you do that, you get a feeling here in the meat of your thumb, right? So from the pinky to the thumb, when you feel it right there, that's well done, all right? From the ring finger to the thumb, when you feel it in the meat of your hand, that's about medium well, medium to medium well. Your middle finger to your thumb, that's your medium right there, right? So that's what you're going for when you feel it. And your pointer finger to your thumb, that's rare. Now, cutting the flat iron, what I do as well is the grains run all over the place here, but you can even see on the side where the grain is running. That's the grain right there, okay? So the grain is running this way. You want general cut against the grain. So like that would be against the grain. So if the grain is running this way, you run perpendicular to the grain. All right, so the important thing to note here is how even the color is, and I've even cut this probably a little early. I could have let it rest a little bit more. But if you notice, like, it's not pink, pink, pink in the center and then gradients of color to the exterior. It's kind of one color all throughout. The bourbon is sweet, right? Like it doesn't taste like bourbon. It doesn't have that strong alcohol flavor. Oh yeah, I'm off to the gym.